Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside Sam Gaffon for our last week of regular season NFL betting. How you doing, Sam?
I'm great. How are you?
Really good. It's the last week. We have our super contests we're going into. I'm fighting for third place. I don't think I have a shot at second now. Where are your standings right now? I know you haven't done too
I'm
hot the
still
last few weeks.
just above 500, so
Okay,
I don't have a
okay,
chance to win it, but I'm comfortable with that for the year.
okay. That's
You had
good.
a pretty good record. I'm
It's
not
pretty
gonna
good.
lie.
It's not it. I don't know how everybody's doing so much better, but they're doing really good. Next
You
year,
only
I really
have you only have like two people, what, two, three people ahead of you?
yeah, but the first guy he's like 10 games ahead of me, so I
Yeah,
can't even
he's
catch him.
killing everyone. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's killing
I mean
everyone.
maybe I could catch second place, but I don't think so. I think he's like 5 games, so he has to go like 0-5 this week, which I don't think he's gonna do.
Hey, look, I started this year. My goal was to get over 500. I was hoping for like 60,
Okay,
65%, but
okay.
I didn't put enough time in. I started off a little hot and then kind of cooled off in the middle to end, but there's always next year. We always
Always
have
next
next
year.
year. Any
Well,
given
let's
Sunday.
let's end it on a bang here, Sam. Where are you betting this week? It's a weird week. Now I could lay out some scenarios for you. I have a few scenarios that I could lay out. Now, there's not a ton, but basically there's a few teams that if they win, the percentage of them going to the playoffs, right? So like the Bucks, if they lose, they're out. If they win, 66%. The Packers, they win, 100% in. Packers, if they playoff win, basically if they win, they're 64% in. So there's like a lot of fringe teams, Seahawks, Saints, Vikings, Falcons. I don't know how the Falcons can manage to actually do it. I guess if they beat the Saints and then all the other NFC South teams lose, I guess they could possibly get there. But a lot of weird scenarios. I think you see it in the lines as well with some of the lines this week. But why don't you kick it off, Sam? Where are you betting this week? You need a 5-0 week to end the
It's a
season.
weird week. It is a weird week.
It
You're
is.
right. So my least confident is going to be Minnesota at Detroit. Detroit
Whoa.
minus 3.5. I'm going with Detroit.
You're going Detroit.
I don't love this pick. That's why it's my
Okay.
least confident. But
Okay. Detroit. All
I
right.
just like Detroit here at home. I don't think they're really playing for anything, and a lot of this will depend on if they're sitting starters or not, which I don't know their exact position in the NFC and what a win, if that really changes much for them. I think they're
For
what are they, like,
Detroit.
the second they're, like, the second
Uh,
seed, right?
well, yeah, I mean they're locked up
Third
right
seed.
now. No matter what
It's
they
in the
do,
third.
if they win, lose, they're in the playoffs right now. So I don't
But I like Detroit in general. I think they're one of the better teams, especially at home in the league. But one of my main drivers on this
yes.
pick,
What's your main driver, Sam?
I have some inside information that
Oh,
some
okay.
very smart people with
Okay.
the smart money is
Smart
on
money.
Detroit.
Smart
I don't know
money's on.
why. I don't
Okay.
know why, but the smart money's on Detroit.
So no Minnesota. You don't think they're gonna go in because the line's weird. The line should be much, much higher if actually people were gonna be playing. It's only -3.5 in
This
our
inside
contest.
information, I think the line changed because this
Oh.
smart money moved it
Is that
one
your money,
direction.
Sam? Are you trying to say you're the smart money that put all the money
No, no, this isn't. I'm not the smart money.
all right.
I don't bet six figures at a time.
I don't love the pick. It does seem weird. The line scared me away a little bit. If I was going to take something, I'd probably go Minnesota just because if this game doesn't matter to Detroit, obviously the last game Detroit played, they got screwed over. I thought they should have won the game 3 times, right? Like there was like 3 chances they had to win the game. This is definitely a spot where you think they could bounce back and come back and try to win it and kind of like get ready for the playoffs. But I don't think ultimately they're going to like go out there and try to blow them out, and they might rest people. You don't want to get
It
hurt before the
depends.
playoffs.
Yeah, it depends on who's resting starters or not. That's a big
It's true.
difference.
That's true.
And there's the other factor of your what you're talking about, momentum. I mean, you don't
Yeah.
want to lose your momentum
That's
going
true. You
into the
don't want to lose
playoffs.
it. They're playing well. They really tore up the Cowboys right at the end there and just
I think
drove
they
down grit.
are. I mean, aside from what we're talking about now, like in the playoffs, I think, like in general, I think Detroit is one of the better teams in the NFC for sure. I mean, they are
Yeah.
obviously are. They're ranked second or third, but I think they can give San Fran a run for their money.
I did just put a little bit of money on the Bucks to win the Super Bowl and the Rams to win the Super Bowl. I felt like
Really?
The NFC was just a little soft. Like I don't think there's a truly dominant team. Like Seahawks beat Lions. Like all
You
these
don't think
teams beat each other.
San Fran's a dominant team? Healthy.
I do think they're dominant, but we saw some weakness in them in the last few weeks. And I just think if something were to happen, I felt like those two teams were kind of coming on. Baker looked good, obviously not as good last week, but like even the Rams are looking really good. So just a little bit of money. I mean, you're getting like plus 20 odds, 20 to 1 odds on it. So you might as well throw a little money on it and see what happens. But just wanted to sprinkle it out.
I don't hate it because you probably bet $20 each, so it wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah. My one unit is $25. So 1 unit on the game. That's what I put. Don't want to spend too much, you gotta keep the bankroll tight. All right,
especially with the kid on the way, you got bills coming.
That's right. I know. A lot of I gotta hit big so I can pay for the
kid.
You
gotta gamble with some intellect now.
My 5th pick, I'm not very confident in it, but I just told you I bet on the Bucs to win the Super Bowl. But I do have Carolina here plus 5.5 at home playing the Bucs. This is a game the Bucs need, but this is also like it feels like a playoff game for Carolina. If Carolina can beat them, it's kind of like Bucs could potentially not be in the playoffs. So I'm hoping this game is close. Right? If the Bucs lose, they're potentially not in, right? If they lose, they're out. They're 100% out.
It's a possibility. Right? I don't know if it's 100%, but I think it's
100%. Right now, I'm looking at. I printed out all
playing
the
for their lives. I like the pick. I've been burned on betting on my Tampa Bay Buccaneers too many times. I'm probably actually 50-50, but they really let me down last week, which I should have known they would get smoked by the freaking Saints. But
so sad, Sam.
It was a perfect opportunity to fade them after riding, a 4-game streak of Baker looking like he's an MVP.
Sure.
Now they just look terrible as a whole. So it's a good bounce back week. I like the pick.
So you like Carolina? I'm on Carolina, by the way.
No. Well, it's not in. I didn't put it in the contest. Our contest is that. Yeah, that's why it's not. I didn't put it in the contest. It's too many points. Minus 5.5 for Tampa. I like Tampa here, but if it was like 3.5, minus 3.5.
Sure, yeah.
5.5 is too much.
This is a big bounce back game. Carolina did not score anything last week. I also have to see if their kicker's playing. The kicker pulled his hammy right before the game, and that's why they didn't score any field goals because he got hurt.
I think David Tepper has a better arm than their quarterback. You see him throw that drink?
I did see him.
Jeremy talk about that yet?
I think
fine $300,000.
I know the man's rich. It's okay. It doesn't really affect him too much.
He's $300K is nothing.
What's your 4th pick?
My 4th.
What do you got?
Is actually New York. So New York. So Philly at New York.
I agree.
Plus 5.5 for the Giants.
I'm on Giants. That's my 3rd pick this week.
I was one of the only people in the contest to take them last week and get that win on my belt. I like, and it's strictly because of Tyrod Taylor. Taylor on the Giants. It's a different Giants team.
I agree.
They're playing Philly. That just does not look like Philly. I think they're just going to rest their. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're set the rest starters. Jalen Hurts doesn't even look good, even if he's starting right now. So
I do think, isn't this for the top of the division? I feel like this is a game. I mean, I'm on New York as well, but I did think this was a game where if Philly did win, which they could still win and New York covers.
San Fran is above them. They're 12-4. Philly's 11. So I don't know what happens if Philly is 12-4, or no, Philly is 12-5, and then San Fran goes 12.
Well, I think they would play somebody easier, right? So I think if they're in a second position, they could play the 6th pick, 6 overall coming in. But I agree. I mean, Philly.
You're playing for the first spot for your bye. So I don't even know if they're both 12-5, who gets that first week bye.
Well, I meant first in their division, in their conference, right? So they'd be over Dallas if they win this. I think that's what would happen.
Yeah, Dallas is 11-5.
Yeah, so I think this is also a big game for Philly. I think they come out. They'll probably win the game. New York covers by it's probably some 20-23 kind of game. Tyrod is looking good. Philly's looking a little soft ever since I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago. They were the most luckiest team in the league, and I think the luck has worn out, and it is a little bit I don't know, little scary for Philadelphia coming to the playoffs not being that hot. So we'll see what happens. But I agree. I agree.
They look cold. They look sluggish and cold.
They do. I know. Yeah, they do. And they're going to play in New York where it might be cold and rainy. I got to also check the weather. That's the big thing I haven't done this year. Check the weather. Because that Chicago game, there's snow. I know. I didn't check the weather. All right. My 4th pick.
fourth least favorite pick.
My fourth pick, I'm going with Tennessee at home, plus 4.5, playing the
Oh, I have them as
Jags.
my second favorite, actually.
Whoa, I feel like it's a good bounce back spot for Tennessee. This also could stop the Jags from winning the division, which I also have money on Houston winning the division. So I really need Houston to cover and win this division. So if they win and Jags lose, I think Houston wins the division and I win some money. So this is like I'm betting multiple times on this game. So
yeah, you're triple dipping.
I'm triple dipping. I probably should fade them a little bit, but I like Tennessee. I think it's like this could be
like
the
the
last
pick.
time any of them play there, right? Like Henry's probably gone next year.
Henry's, yeah, and Vrabel's probably his last week coaching. So Vrabel's known to be like a coach, like a player's guy. All the
Yeah.
players love playing for Vrabel. I've been let down so many times betting on Tennessee, so I hate
Yeah.
to bet them. But in this case, I think they come out and play for him.
I hope they do. I mean, this is all these games I feel like are kind of small playoff games because a lot of these teams, if they lose, they're not in. So I think a lot of them have must-win situations, but it doesn't mean they have to go out and blow them out. It's just like we need to win this game, and maybe they'll play a little conservative.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's what I'm
our
hoping the
contest
Jags do.
we're looking at plus 4.5 for Tennessee,
I know.
and it's at home too. That's the home dog.
I know. I love it.
Vrabel at home is like Henry at home last week for both of them. Maybe the team shows up.
I hope they do. Who is your, what do you got? Third pick?
Third least confident.
Well, yes.
Chicago at Green Bay. I don't love the pick, but I like Chicago. I'm a little worried about Green Bay. But
who are you on?
I'm with Chicago plus
this
3.5.
This is my first pick. Yeah,
it's your first.
Yeah.
I think Chicago has looked so much better the second half of the season. I mean, Fields has looked a lot better too. I'm surprised. I think they may end up keeping him.
I think this is a game that decides if they keep him. If they beat Green Bay, this is where
they have to keep him. If they win, they have to keep him.
Think. And then they got to trade away. They'll probably get first round picks next year. You keep them. If they lose, you have an option to maybe
they'll trade. They'll trade if they keep Fields. They're going to trade down just a couple picks and get Marvin Harrison Jr., the best receiver in the draft.
Maybe we'll see what happens. I mean, they might, if they move Fields, they might have to get a quarterback. So we'll see what, I think this game determines both of those decisions, right? And they got a long time to think about it. But if Fields plays bad, this is like, okay, we're done with you. We're going to move on, get somebody else. And I think honestly, this is like maybe his biggest game of his life, because this determines if he's with Chicago maybe the next 5-10 years.
Completely. I don't think it's the deciding factor, but it's a big factor.
Yeah. I like it. I mean,
I haven't checked the weather on this one either. Green Bay, it's gonna be cold, but Justin, he plays well in the cold anyway. He's a running quarterback. He actually is usually, I think he's played well in the cold every time it's been cold. Like in Chicago, he's played great.
And I just think Green Bay, they're like off and on. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about Chicago, but Green Bay is just like not consistent. Some weeks they show up, some they don't. I don't know if Jordan Love is the guy, but like
they've looked a little better in the second half. They've been a second half team though. Think about the first half. Remember the first half of the year, everyone was talking Jordan Love's failure, but now second half of the year, he's been playing a lot better.
I mean, yeah, you look at all the stats, it's like basically comparable to Aaron Rodgers, his first season with Green Bay, like just as a starter. So yeah, he's doing good, but it's also like it doesn't seem as good as you need to, because I guess you're not winning the games. Like all the stats look the same. But yeah, if they win this, let me see. If the Packers win, they have a 64% chance, and if they lose, a 17% chance to go to the playoffs, which I'm sure somebody out there will give you all the math on all the scenarios where it's like, if Steelers need to go to the playoffs, here's 25 different scenarios that need to happen. We're not doing that, but they have a 17% chance. So hopefully Chicago wins and kicks them out. I like that. All right. So that's my number one. So this is my number two. My number two pick. I'm going to take Atlanta plus 3.5 at New Orleans. I think this is for, why can't I think of the coach's name? What's the coach's name in Atlanta? Come on, Sam. Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
I think he's playing for the job. I don't think the Saints are as good as they appear sometimes.
They're not. That's a fact.
Yeah. And Atlanta's been playing, they've been bouncing back and forth between two quarterbacks, but I think they're playing Heineke again, right?
I don't know who's set the start, but it's been Heineke the last couple of weeks over Ritter.
And
Which
I
I
don't know,
think Heineke's not a bad quarterback. I think he's way better than Ridley, but Heineke has not looked good the last couple weeks.
no, he hasn't looked good. I mean, I feel like he's very similar to Sam Howell, who Washington replaced him with, right? Like similar vibes, like run around, throw the ball. He's got a good arm, like, right? Right? I mean, he's just kind of like, that's the guy. He runs
That's a
around.
lot of
They run
quarterbacks.
around a lot because the line's breaking down and people are chasing him down. And he's got to throw the ball somewhere.
I don't know. Maybe it's the offensive line. I don't know. Atlanta's got a good run offense. I don't think the line's the issue. I didn't watch much of Atlanta the last 2 weeks. I just watched some clips and I looked at the stat line. And Heineke just played like shit. But
I also think
I've seen him play a lot like last year, like with Washington. He was great. They led him to the wild card.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
he's not a bad quarterback. It's the
I also
team and the
think,
coach.
do you think this game is also like Atlanta's playoff game? Like you stop New Orleans here, they don't go to the playoffs. I think that's what
I
happens
think
if
they're
they
still
beat
in the
them.
hunt. Aren't they still in the hunt for the wild card NFC South?
Yeah, so if they
Tampa,
lose, I think
Atlanta.
there's like 0% chance they go. But if Falcons win, they have a 13% shot at actually going to the wild card round. So I think this is a big game for both of them, both teams here. I don't like the Saints. I don't know what's going on there. I don't think they want to stay on Derek Carr. If anything, they should just bomb the game and just go get a new quarterback next year. I don't know why.
I watched them play a lot last week. Unfortunately, they played well.
Yeah.
They looked good. I don't know
Or
if Tampa's D was just that bad that week at home,
could be.
or New Orleans just looked good. Derek Carr, their offense was firing. He was getting the ball off quick. Like they looked like they knew what
Yeah.
they were doing. It looked like nothing New Orleans has been all year.
Yeah.
Do they keep it up? I don't know.
I don't think
It's not
so.
a bad call.
They're up and down every week. I'm going with Atlanta. I need a 5-0 week. I'm going to check weather, see where games are at. I'm really worried about that New York one because if it does rain or snow, I'm kind of off. Like I don't think Tyrod is capable of that. So we'll see what's going on there. But
I think he's got an advantage as a running quarterback.
do you have
But then
a
again,
number?
he's going against another.
Do you have a number one, or
Yes,
did we
my
already talk
number
about it?
one. No, we haven't talked about my number
Oh.
one. My number one is Houston at Indiana. In our book, it's weirdly plus half a point for Houston,
Yes, plus
which
I
all
thought it
the
was-
major books I've already looked. It's the reverse. It's already like it's around -1 Houston on all big books. So I think there's a little value there, but overall, I mean, plus half a point for Houston in our book. Me taking Houston. I mean, I'm just betting on them winning.
yeah.
And I think that's definitely gonna be the case. CJ is not gonna lose this game. They're gonna ride into the playoffs on this win.
I would like them to. They looked really good last week. I played Carolina in the contest and they got destroyed by Houston. Somebody. I think it was Houston.
Not Houston. No, they didn't.
Who was it? It was somebody. Somebody in that comp. Was it Indy?
It was not Houston.
Whatever it was. I bet on Carolina last week. I like Houston here as well. I need them so they can win the division if they win this and Jags lose. I think I got a shot at it. I got to go look. But I like it. I mean, Indy needs this game too. So like both these teams, every game this week matters if you're going the wild card. So
They both need it. Yeah. They both have a shot. They both have a shot at the playoffs here.
All right, Sam. Well, this is the end of the regular season, and you're going to be joining our little gambling pool, right? Are you going to join the gambling pool with our mutual friend Tony?
I don't know about the gambling pool.
Okay, I'm gonna send you the email. We're gonna do a gambling pool, and you're able to bet on all the games with fake money every single week. And we'll see. We can have a little contest between ourselves and then also the pool. But basically, whoever has the most fake money at the end of the season, at the end of the Super Bowl, wins. I don't know, like $1,000 or something.
So who's gonna pay the $1,000?
Well, the 15 people that are in the contest.
So there's a buy-in, then we just use fake money.
Yes, Sam.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless you just want Monopoly.
We could just use. And why is it called fake money? Isn't it just real money?
Well, yeah, but it's your fake money bets that are going towards it, and you submit it, and whoever gets the most.
I get it.
Yeah. So it'll be fun.
I get it now.
And we'll keep track of that on the show here. And I think it's a lot of fun because it really makes you think because you want to win. And I've always tried to just play it easy. I think I'm going all in every week this time. I'm not messing around. I didn't do it last year because I was like, oh, maybe I'll make a little money if I get like third place. I'm going all in every week. My $1,000 on a game every single week just to kind of get up there quick. It's ballsy, but we'll see what happens.
That's one strategy.
Thanks, Sam.
How'd you end up last year when you did this?
Our Tony did not let me bet on the halftime show because I got inside info as well on Rihanna's first song, and I wanted to put my entire bankroll on Rihanna's first song she plays during the halftime show. and he denied me of my bet, so I had to pick something else.
Oh, so there's non-football related bets going on in this pool.
He's removing it this year. He's removing, and he's calling them soft bets, anything non-field related. So if halftime is out now, it has to be something else.
How'd you have the inside information on that? Where'd that
Listen,
come
I
from?
follow a lot of people on TikTok, and people were like on set training. They're like, this is the first song. And then it got removed off the books. So
I
it got
see, yeah,
removed off the books, which I knew I had the right info. So I'm like, let me play this. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of people on TikTok that give you a lot of good information, just like us on TikTok, which, by the way, follow us go to YouTube, subscribe to us. We have videos up there. Maybe Sam will be doing his own show up there one day. A lot of good stuff. Just go to sportshangover.com.
Big things coming.
Big things coming, Sam. All right, Sam. Good show. See you.